welcome to Recollections May Vary, a royal recap. Let's just jump to this silly story. Meghan Markle mocked for tacky monogrammed tote bag with royal initials. Meghan was branded tacky for carrying a tote on a recent trip to Washington, D.C., where the initials DS for Duchess of Sussex were printed in large, bright blue lettering across a Longchamp bag. Listening to what you're saying about Meghan, we've known her for 10 years. I say this always about Archwell. What do you stand for? What do you stand for? Their motto is show up, do good. What the hell does that mean? You know, what do you stand for? I think Meghan's entire identity is this title. And I think that she must feel so trapped in a box and furious that she can't take advantage of it more than she already does.
It's so interesting. I saw that bag with the ridiculous, enormous, I mean, we're talking enormous, like 200 font size, point size, you know, like it's unmissable. It's like you see this trick like wheeling through JFK or, LAX, and you're gonna know who it is, but like, give me my privacy. I just want to be a normal person. And I think about, exactly as you said, the way in which this title seems to mean everything to her. And it is the backbone of her identity. Now, again, this is a woman who was born and raised an American. An
And do you remember
American,
she told Oprah that titles didn't matter to her. All that pomp didn't matter to her.
I forgot because we have so many contradictions and outright lies.
I know.
I really like, I need a Carrie Matheson Homeland chart, like in the living room to keep track of the lies and the inconsistencies. But I think about this sometimes, like, if you really, like Princess Grace of Monaco, for example, born an American, married into royalty, one never got the sense that that title meant everything to her, or was the end all and be all of her identity. If in fact, if anything, as she aged, we saw she felt like somewhat of a bird in a gilded cage, and had wanted to go back to her career as an actress because she was a real one, her career as a movie star because she was a real one, but she never used her Americanness as some sort of deficit. It was always a plus. It was a value add to Monaco and to Europe at large and to her native country. And I think, like, if I were an American, I am an American woman, but let's say I was in Meghan's position, middle-aged, divorced at least once, had my own career, fell in love with a royal, married him, got this title. I truly think I would consider the title somewhat outside of myself, not of me, something I was gifted but didn't necessarily deserve or would have to work to deserve. But it certainly wouldn't be something that I subsumed as part of my core identity. And I think in seeing how much she clings to this and needs to, as I described Jennifer Aniston in a recent Nerve, Meghan should just suit up in a NASCAR jumpsuit and smack all of her royal titles all over her body and just make the world, just enter the room like that. Okay. Enter the room like that, as if we all don't know. It really speaks to a complete lack of a core identity, of self-esteem, of a healthy, regulated ego, of humility, of a sense of purpose, of a sense of proportion. All of those things are absolutely lacking. And I think that William is probably enjoying, as I've said to you before, the sort of the dark cloud that he is able to sort of just allow to follow Meghan, because she knows it's coming. She doesn't know when, she doesn't know where, how, but she knows it's coming.
I know. I'm just horribly looking forward to it. I can't wait for the day
Why do you
that
say
they,
horribly?
oh, because I know that they're going to claim racism.
That's not going to
They're,
work.
I hope not. I hope not. But I don't know. We'll see where the world is at that time. Harry and Meghan got away with what they got away with initially because of where we were culturally.
Hmm.
I think if they would have done it any other, 20 years ago, people would have been like, what? They allowed you guys to get married. They allowed you to
They
get married.
loved it. They loved that it was an American biracial princess coming in. This was a
Hmm.
shot in the arm to a
Yeah.
sclerotic monarchy. They
Yeah.
loved it. The British people loved it. Look at the footage of that wedding. You know, it was all because of where America was in current events.
I know. And she took advantage of that. Like when she was asked to speak at her high school's Zoom graduation, her old high school here in LA, and she sat squatting outside of, I think, Tyler Perry's house with a wall behind her, saying, I just feel guilty talking to you guys without mentioning George Floyd. And you're like, what? I'm just trying to, girl, I just busted my butt to graduate. Okay. Why do you have to bring me down?
Even the optics, again, of sitting in front of a wall. A wall says division. A wall says, I'm behind that wall, and you, the likes of you guys, you think you're going to climb it? You're ever going to get to where I'm at in life? You know, there's zero. What an honor to be asked to speak at your former high school, let alone to give the commencement address. And instead, she uses this as a moment to perseverate on all of the things that she doesn't have. Again, I find this pathological victimhood very sick. I find it sick.
Yeah, I do too. And they've realized that they are limited in their ability to monetize it today. You talked about this pathological victimhood. Another great segue. Thanks, Maureen Callahan. An unlikely new Meghan Markle bestie is being positioned to help her with her career comeback. I'm going to read this word for word and tell me if you believe this. This is from Alison Bishop at the Daily Mail. It can be revealed that a key figure in Meghan's plans is fashion conscious actress Blake Lively, a longtime friend of Anna Wintour's, who has put Blake on the cover of Vogue more than once. Blake is genuinely close to Meghan and Harry, and I'm told the Sussexes quite often stay with her and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, at their penthouse when in New York due to the security. Others say the arrangement allows the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to benefit from the couple's security. But have you ever seen such a, or imagined such a toxic combination between these two individuals?
Well, I think Alison Boshoff at the Mail is incredibly well sourced. She is incredibly well sourced, and so I believe it's true. And again, at the Mail, we go through a kind of legal vetting that is extremely precise uh, and diligent. This does make actual sense to me because like attracts like. And at the Nerve, we've been doing a deep dive on Ryan Reynolds, who is a psycho arsonist. He admitted to setting fire to his elementary school, and in his version, a wing burned down, and in the news reports replete with photos of the school that we dug up and showed at the Nerve, that school burned to the ground. And then Ryan talked also about forcing his 7-year-old daughter, who begged her father and said, Daddy, I really don't want to say the line, and this is graphic. When I want your opinion, I'll take Wolverine's out of your mouth in Wolverine versus Deadpool. And he and the director joked on the official commentary about how much his 7-year-old daughter didn't want to say it. And what did they do? They made her say that in there. I'm quoting from them, between 70 to 500 times. And as I said, there is a huge gap between 70 and 500. And I believe it was closer to 500. I think Ryan Reynolds is a psychopath. I think he's an evil, bad, effing, dangerous guy. I think his wife is no better. And if Meghan and Harry, with all of the attention they pay to how they are perceived by the public and how beloved they are, think that these two are great to cozy up to and be best friends with, have the at it, because this is, again, water seeks its own level.